Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, Powers Taken Not Given, joined as always by John Cooper Paz of Counterpoint Politics. How are you doing today, my friend?
TJ, today is a better day. This weekend was obviously rough. And Monday was even worse because like when you have like post concert depression because you had this big adrenaline rush and all this dopamine, and then the next day you're like, what now?
Mhm.
That's what Monday felt like, except the adrenaline rush wasn't for good reasons. It was for very, very bad reasons and just obsessing over the fact that we have a rogue police state murdering people in the streets. And then Monday you get back to work and that's still going on, and you're sitting there sending emails, and that was rough. But today, I don't know. Greg Bonvino getting fired did put a little bit of a pep in my step today. It made, as much as it's all a massive net negative. It did perk me up to get back into the swing of things.
Really? I don't know. I'm still deep in the funk there, man, because
Yeah,
it it's I knew it was bad when if you overheard someone today or yesterday say, "Oh, some guy was killed by ice," you didn't think of the giant snowstorm that flew through, 30 states. That's like, "Oh, no, I'm sure that wasn't it. I'm sure they're actually talking about the massed human beings walking around with impunity doing whatever they fucking want, making I've never I don't know if you've heard that song "Thank God for the Cops." It was this guy on TikTok who did a funny song called "Thank God for the Cops" years ago, who disappeared after making fun of the cops. It's kind of strange, but that uh, how professional cops seem compared to ICE agents.
yeah.
Right? I mean, you hear cops talking, but I've yet to hear one police officer on the news say anything positive about border patrol folks. He's like, and then when you watch them operate, you're like, oh yeah, cops actually, as bad as they are, ICE is just full of people too dumb and violent to be cops. I am 100% positive on this, and it's been pretty difficult.
I mean, that's one of the things that we are on the same side as the cops now, TJ. Like the cops are upset at ICE because what you just said, everything ICE is doing is somehow giving cops a bad name.
Yeah.
That's how bad it, and that's why it's so frustrating to hear defense of what ICE is doing from people who previously told us to back the blue. Like, look at what actual law enforcement professionals are saying. Again, people who traditionally we are no friends of, but listen to them, the people that you used to say are the beacons of morality in this fucking country. And they're all saying, hey guys, what ICE is doing is pretty fucked up. This is not good law enforcement. It's putting themselves and the public in danger. This is not how things should be done. Judges are literally they held I forget which one of them, the leader of ICE, not Bavino. He's the border patrol guy, but the leader of ICE,
Holman.
maybe. They're holding him in contempt now for all of the fucking illegal shit ICE is doing. And
Holman?
just, what was that?
Todd Holman is his name, I think.
No,
Is it
no, no, no,
Holman?
no. He's the border czar. See,
Oh,
they all got all these fucking
all
names.
right. Okay.
So Bovino is head of ICE. Homan isn't like a real position. He's
Okay.
whenever someone's called czar in American politics, they're just like a mouthpiece and a
Mhm.
scapegoat, essentially, for like whatever is supposed to be done. Homan's probably the first person ever to want to be given the title of czar, but Homan's also the only actual law enforcement
Mhm.
that is in charge of anything in this situation. Like Bovino, I guess, is an actual law enforcement professional, but also he's a straight up Nazi. But like Homan, say what you will about him. I don't like Homan. He took bribes, everything. He at least has been the voice of reason in all of this. Like, if you remember, we talked like a month ago about how him and Kristi Noem have been butting heads because Kristi Noem doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. And Homan, at least, as much as he's not really a good person, and I don't want him being in charge of shit. At least he does things by the book. Whereas what ICE is doing just has been ridiculous.
Yeah, it reminds me of The Big Lebowski. Whenever whenever the nihilists show up, and Walter says that, oh, the nihilists are actually worse than the Nazis because at least the Nazis have an ethos. I thought of that with when you mentioned the conservatives, how they back the blue and everything, but the blue right now are saying that ICE is monstrous and a terror. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, the opinions of the blue doesn't matter anymore, and that reminds me when I first got out of the army. I got a job as an intern with the agency I work with now, Indiana Community Action. I was an intern. I was a legislative intern. I go to all the meetings for the bills that were passing through the Indiana State House. And one of them, this is back in 2022, one of them was constitutional carry law Indiana wanted to pass, which a lot of states have passed in the past 5 years or so. And basically, what constitutional carry is that you don't need any sort of permit to carry a firearm, that the Constitution says that you have the right to bear arms. The government can't step in and say you need training, you need courses, you need certification, you need identification. Nope, it's you want a gun, walk around with it just fine. And of course, we saw that in my organization and said that's insane. Indianapolis is already one of the top 30 cities and murders and everything. Says, okay, let's try to trend that in the other direction. And when we were testifying against the bill, you know who was against the legislation too? The police, the
Mhm.
cops who were never on the same side as us on any legislation. On that one, the police said, yeah, I don't think we should increase the number of people walking around open carrying firearms. Of course, it passed anyway. The opinions of the cops only matter if they can, further the the agenda of just torment and misery. And these people don't really want to fight for anything. How is this making anyone's lives better? What's happening with ICE? Whose lives are being improved at all? Can you show me any metric at all that says anything has gotten better because of what's happening in Minnesota or the ICE actions around the country? You can't, except that they get this libidinal pleasure, this urge to see their enemies punished, and that's as far as it goes.
TJ, you bring up a good point there. Again, these numbers aren't very solid. This is based on a lot of speculation based off of incomplete FBI reporting data. But it seems that undocumented immigrants in this country kill about 10 people a year. Not 10 American citizens, about 10 people a year. And currently, ICE is on pace to kill 24 people this year. They've killed and that's probably a conservative estimate, to be perfectly honest. And we're not just talking about the people that are killed on the streets. We're talking about the people who have died in ICE detention. And I just don't understand how you can look at those numbers and go, yeah, this is an effective use of law enforcement. And again, they're not even enforcing the law; they are breaking the law just as much as they're enforcing it. Or else, and I did look this up. It is Todd Lyons is facing.
Oh, I don't know that name.
For several court orders which have been ignored by ICE. Todd Lyons is the director of ICE, not the public-facing person, but the actual director. So TJ, let me give you. I'm fine with having a therapy session here. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people could use a therapy session today. And this is our Q&A show. So definitely encourage people in the chat to drop their questions. We'll probably be talking about Alex Preddy. Preddy, is it Pretty or Preddy?
I don't know. I assumed it was
I haven't
Pretty.
heard it
Pretty. I don't know. Yeah.
Can't
ask him, can we?
No, we can't. Yeah, definitely let us know in the comments. I see Colby there. I see Mark there. Good evening, Mark. But I'm going to make the case for why I feel a little bit better today, especially than how I felt on Saturday and Sunday. Because on Saturday and Sunday, things felt like they were accelerating at a pace which could only lead to mass bloodshed. Like when we're sitting there on Wednesday and we watched that video, or Saturday morning, I watched that video, and I'm like, holy shit. That was, as much as the Renee Good one was pretty damn evident, at least in that situation. You're like, oh, the car is moving. You could squint with the most charitable definition and say maybe the ICE officer maybe actually feared for his life. In this one, Alex Preddy was sitting there doing nothing, recording on his camera when he was tackled to the ground, mace tackled to the ground and shot in the back while he was being held down by 6 other ICE agents. which, to your point, also dangerous for the ICE agents that were holding him down for another ICE agent to just fire into their mass. And I'm sure we'll get down to the breakdown of what we actually think happened there. But they come out and they're like, oh, well, he shouldn't have had a gun. He should. The most abusively hypocritical argument I've maybe ever heard. It is the anti-Kyle Rittenhouse argument. It is the most incredible. They were saying gun or bat, like they were saying no guns. Trump said you can't have guns at a protest today. And it's just like, this is antithetical to everything Republicans have been saying for years. Like the most staunchly held beliefs of theirs, they're just whisking to the side. And it was like, shit, if this is how much they're circling the wagons, where truly even the most holiest of Republican principles do not matter. Fuck, this is going to get a lot bloodier very quickly. And at least we have seen genuine drawback. We have seen this administration for the first time really admit fault. Someone was fired. Like, again, I'm not saying any of this is good or makes me happy or even good enough, but the fact that public pressure did cause this administration to change their course of direction is at least makes me feel optimistic about the ability to I just saw Joseph Cody's comment about the ability to get through the end of this, or at least get to the midterms without like actual armed conflict in the streets. And so, I mean, that anchoring to that feeling that I had on Saturday and Sunday, I feel relatively better today. Do you feel similarly at all?
I can't say I'm quite that optimistic. And to what John was talking about there with the comment before I address what he said, and Joseph Kony wrote, "Will Off Your Wagon be on Thursday, on the show on Thursday?" And no, that's not going to be happening. For those of you wondering, Off Your Wagon, content creator, we've had on the show a couple of times. There was reports from, I think, 3 or 4 different women that he sexually assaulted them in a bar a few weeks ago, and he, I guess, didn't comment about it at all for days and put some sort of tepid apology saying that I was drunk and I don't remember that happening and everything. And that was going on with social media. And Off Your Wagon was a very popular content creator. He'd been on a lot of platforms and he had been doing a lot of work in Minneapolis. And so it kind of relates here. I do have to say that since Joseph Kony made that comment, that would make Off Your Wagon the second most infamous person to comment on here, because Jesus Christ, Joseph Kony. I mean, the fact that we even hosted that guy's comment is pretty that doesn't speak well of us at all. I feel a lot better about the Off Your Wagon thing now that we've had Joseph Kony on. But yeah, I am not quite as optimistic, because yes, I think that now, certainly in the short term, the Alex Preddy shooting, as bad as the Renee Good shooting was, the Alex Preddy shooting, I have a hard time thinking of a more obviously unjustified shooting. Police, ICE, anywhere.
I mean, they might as well have like the only thing I could possibly is if they like bound him up, knelt him down, put a gun behind his kneeling head, and then shot him right in the street. Like, at least in this situation, there's like chaos going on. Like, that's the only thing that could be more clear cut, is just a straight up, I'm executing you as he shot the gun.
I think the one that there was one, what was his name? Walter something in South Carolina. And a cop pulled a guy over, and the guy had a warrant or something. So when the cop pulled him over, he stepped out of the vehicle and just started running before the cop got there. And the cop shot him in the back 2 or 3 times. Like,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, and that, believe it or not, that was a hung jury. They still didn't. It took 2 times for them to convict the cop for that.
Wow.
But, and I am not exaggerating. I'll find the guy's name before the end of the show. But that's exactly what happened. But with the Ronald Brady thing, that a lot of Republicans even say, ooh, that's pretty bad. I mean, the guy had a gun, which a lot of them are hanging their head on, because that's literally all they have. It's nothing, but it's literally all they have. And the fact that the gun was removed from his body before he was shot is insane. And then they start taking up the coward's last refuge. That's when you know they are really just scraping the bottom of the barrel here, when they say, well, you got to understand that this was a big difficult scrum, and the ICE agents are under a lot of pressure, and you don't know, what do you think you would have done in that situation? And this is such an absurd argument here. I wish I could remember who told me something like this, but if we heard a story about a Delta Airlines pilot who hit some turbulence, panicked, and just nosedived the plane
Mhm.
straight into the ground, nobody would ever say, "Well, you got to understand, being a pilot is a tough job." No, everybody would say, "Okay, that was a shitty pilot. I can't
Yeah.
believe he was ever in that situation. What kind of training did he go through? Talk to his superiors, find out what happened, like what went wrong." But whenever it's trained enforcers and operators of the state who are supposed to know what they're doing in these situations, and they kill people for no good reason at all, and then you see beforehand, that's the part that really bothers me. Is, I'm sure you've probably seen it now, John, is that before the shooting took place, they've shoved like 8 people, shoved them
Seven.
to the ground, something I've never seen cops do. As
No.
much as you talk about, I've
Well,
never once.
I've seen cops do
Okay, I,
it.
I don't think I've ever seen cops shove half a dozen people to the ground when
The,
there's no
the
arrest going on. I don't
frequency
think I've ever seen
and
that.
quickness at which it is happening is kind of insane. I've definitely seen cops get too handsy with protesters, but like the woman specifically in that moment that Alex was coming over to help up, like she wasn't doing shit. She was standing there still, and he just shoves her. It's like,
So yeah, oh yeah, I forgot my point here. Sorry, run off of yeah. So yeah, the reason that I'm not optimistic
mhm,
is I think the job has been done. I think that I'm not saying this was some sort of grand plan from the beginning, but the effect is definitely going to be long lasting. That, do you think the average person, or hell, even the person who's more likely to be engaged in this type of stuff, is more or less likely to attend an ICE protest now? I know the answer. It's going to be a lot less. Because are you now, people, like, if you're a single guy or something like that and you say, yeah, this is really jazzing me up, but if you're a mom with kids, you're going to risk like taking away your kid's parent to go out for that protest. Most people are not going to. So I think that when it comes to like installing the fear, I think it's going to definitely do its job.
so I'm trying to look for like actual polling, but to
I
your
mean, the polling
question,
is one thing, but will they show up for these protests to get involved with ICE? I don't think so. If
so
anything,
will
they're
they?
definitely going to be more reticent to actually get up in their faces.
So Kyle here is asking a similar question. Do you guys really think this will have a long-term impact? And Colby says, I'd like to be huffing hopium, but I'm concerned about moving and leaving Minneapolis if we're just going to get some more effective at their goal. And I think all of these questions are kind of pointing at the same thing. And I want to explain why I think that what we're seeing in the aftermath of this shooting points us in a positive direction. Because, yeah, there might be less people out on the streets protesting ICE, but that's not really the goal here now, is it? Like, the goal isn't to get the most people protesting out on the streets as we possibly can. In my mind,
Hmm.
the goal is kneel out the clock and decisively win the 2026 midterms to at least put an end to this shit. Because if we can get a supermajority in Congress, which is on the table given how drastically Trump's approval is falling in the polls and how much people are hating this shit, then we can put a stop to this for good, at least until 2028, And that to me is the goal, because there's just no, it's not happening now. There's no stopping this right now. This is going to continue, and there's nothing we can do about it. And the goal should be to get there with as much positive messaging being done to sway people to our side and as little bloodshed as possible. With a more effective person leading ICE, sure, you might end up with more deportations, but you're going to end up with less overall brutality. You're going to end up with less chances of people actually dying, hopefully. Uh, and so that is a positive thing in my mind. It helps us kneel out the clock until we get to the point where we can hit back. And that's what the reason I'm feeling more optimistic is that this is the first time I've seen the administration step back. And the fact that the administration is stepping back indicates that they have something to fear. And the fact that they're not responding to that fear with more violent aggression is a pretty good sign that we will be able to kneel out the clock and win the midterms in 2020. Well, it is 2026 in November, and then be able to use Congress to shut down ICE. that to me is the goal. That to me is the only reasonable path to victory in terms of actually putting an end to this. And so that's why I'm feeling more optimistic today, at least, than I was this weekend.
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so. I just think that with attention spans being as short as they are, people remember the most, like the most catastrophic, bombastic event, and the deaths. Who knows? We'll see.
I hate playing this game of what is the minimum amount of harm that we can accept in order to have the maximum effect. I really hate playing this game, but it's a game that we have to play now with the Trump administration.
Yeah, what's been interesting to me is watching the people who are defending the ICE agents, which as time has gone on, there's fewer and fewer of them, but the the links that people are going to try to say that, oh, this is actually fine, it's all right, has been pretty disturbing. This one is kind of funny. I don't know if you saw this, John. This is a Newsmax reporter. I can't remember this guy's name, but he's showing how easy it is to, mistake someone that you need to whether you should shoot them or not. There you go.
I want to show you something. Does that look like a gun? I think it does a little bit. It's a phone. It's black, like most phones. That's crazy stuff.
I don't know if you saw that, John, but that's the level of like the depths that people are willing to sink to try to defend this. Have you seen that guy?
I have not seen that guy. That guy's fucking hilarious.
I have another one. I have another one from this guy. This guy, Greg Kelly, that's who he is. He used to work for Fox News. He got fired for
shocking, TJ. I would have never guessed that.
He got fired for some sexual harassment thing. Newsmax is full of
continue to shock me, TJ. I can't believe this sequence of events.
This one's even better. Okay, check this out.
His name, Alex Preddy. He was 37 years old. He was an American citizen. He had no criminal record. He worked as a nurse. His patients were American veterans. He was an avid outdoorsman, a competitive cyclist, and a licensed gun owner. He played football and baseball in high school. He was a Boy Scout.
American citizen, let's see, baseball, rode a bike. That could be me! Except for the part where I go out and do something incredibly stupid. All those things. Boy Scout, outdoorsman, right? You know who that is? A lot of people. Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, was all those things. Dennis Rader, remember him? He's the bind, torture, and kill guy. He liked to hunt. He was a family man. Everybody liked him. His mother liked him. All that stuff. Dennis Rader and Alex. I'm sorry, but I can't just pretend because you're dead, you're like the superior person. That happens a lot in America, but only when they really, really want you to represent. People are kind of projecting positive qualities on somebody they don't know.
I wish there was some sort of like newscasting Hall of Fame where I could have this guy putting the picture of Alex Preddy and the BTK killer side by side and saying, well, they both loved baseball and they were both Boy Scouts, so essentially they're the same person. I don't see why this is something people are talking about here. That is how you know you have nothing, like when you're going to something that low. But I just had to share that guy because he was cracking me up.
I don't even know who that's not a serial killer that I've heard of, the BTK killer. So I
too young, John. You're too young to remember the BTK killer. He had the country in a chokehold back in the day.
Oh God. But so the thing with the Alex Preddy, the ICE defenders of Alex Preddy is like they aren't even making like the arguments they're making. You'll see people online saying, "Oh, he's obstructing," and people say he's obstructing, and you'll ask him how. And he's like, "Oh, well, he was standing in the street." It's like, well, he wasn't even standing in the street when ICE grabbed him, and he's like, "Oh, well, he just shouldn't have been there. Why would you bring a gun to a protest?" And I'm like, you know what, TJ, I agree with them. I do think that Alex Preddy did something stupid by bringing a gun to a protest. I think this because it's the same damn thing I said about Kyle Rittenhouse. That being said, it's legal, bro. It is legal in the state of Missouri, or not Missouri. Where the fuck were they?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Because my second thought was Montana. They're all the same. All of you middle states, you're all the same. I'm sorry, it's the truth.
Too many M's. There's a
Too many
Minnesota, a Michigan, a Missouri. Yeah, there's
Michigan's
many.
slightly different because at least they look different. But I agree. Like, if you're going to make the argument, oh, well, it was a mistake for him to do that, it unnecessarily endangered people. It's like, yeah, I'll agree with you, but then you have to agree with me that Kyle Rittenhouse did something even worse than that, and they won't do that. So we can't have a natural conversation about this because you're just lying. You're like you made the same exact argument, the same opposite exact argument with Kyle Rittenhouse that you are with Alex Petty, and even then you're not even arguing. Like, they're not even arguing.
No, not even arguing it. Nope.
Or wrong. Like they're not even arguing that he was a justified use of force. All of these arguments that we were having about Renee Good don't even exist with Alex Petty. It's just he was stupid for doing this thing and endangered himself and ended up killed as a result. None of it ever talks about legality or anything. It's why the fucking they're walking back the Stephen Miller statements that he was this depraved killer looking to go out and kill cops, because they know how much legal trouble even saying that puts them in. And the lawyers are winning out in the Trump administration over this one. And it's just sad because anyone who's sitting here defending this is just an asshole. Like I don't even know how to phrase it any other way. There's no reasonable argument to be made that Alex Petty was doing anything deserving of him getting shot. And the thing, TJ, is I actually don't think ICE intentionally killed him. I watching all the video, my conclusion here is that they dogpiled him. One of them found a gun. Another took out their gun. I don't know why they took out the gun, but they're poorly trained fucking people here. And then I do think that the guy who took the gun accidentally fired said gun because they're not trained to not put their fucking finger on the trigger, which is 101. And then the other guy heard a gunshot and shot his gun that was pointed at Alex Petty at the time. And then after shooting him, shot him 9 more times because he had a fight or flight response. I think that's what happened. I don't think it's a situation where ICE was intentionally executing him. I think this was just really fucking bad gun safety all around. And honestly, ICE is fortunate they shot Alex Petty and not one of their own.
Yeah, this happens a lot, that people will assume that when we say that ICE executed this person or ICE went out and killed this person, whatever. I think people are kind of expecting what you described in the beginning of the show, where they tie someone up in the street and then put a gun in the back of their head and fire. It's like, no, this life doesn't operate like a cartoon like that. Not generally, it doesn't happen. This is, this goes way back. We're talking about BTK killer. This is even before that. I think Michael Brown was. Oh no, it was way after that. But Michael Brown in St. Louis, the hands up, don't shoot protest and everything. So I remember when that happened, that the narrative on the ground from the protesters was that the police were chasing Michael Brown after he committed a robbery, and that Michael Brown fell to his knees in the middle of the street, raised up his hand and said, "Don't shoot," and the cop shot him in the face. And I remember hearing that, saying, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I just don't think that's what happened. That doesn't pass the smell test to me. That as awful as a lot of police officers are, as racist as they are, as violent they are, I do not believe that a police officer had someone on his knees in front of him with his hands in the air and he shot him in front of a dozen witnesses. That doesn't make sense. Now, Eric Holder, who's the attorney general at the time, conducted an investigation afterward, and the investigation found that Michael Brown did assault the police officer. The police officer had a broken eye socket or something from Michael Brown attacking him. Now, that doesn't mean that his actions were, and then it showed the record of this cop's past. The cop was super fucking racist. I mean, even for a cop, this stuff that they found, it doesn't exonerate everything that he did, but the narrative was incorrect. And so that's what people they expect, the original one, that these guys just went out and they're just intentionally evil. And no, it doesn't require any of that. It requires that what we mentioned before, these people are poorly trained. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're going out. They have this mission. Hey, we're here to round up the illegals, and anyone who gets in our way or yells at us, we're gonna treat as an intentional threat. And that's bad enough. But then when you put firearms into the mix, like John was talking about, that what do I do if I encounter someone who does have a firearm, who I'm wrestling with now? What does my training say? Do they even have the training? I'm not convinced they do. I am not convinced they do.
I don't think so.
I really don't. I think they got these guys out there who weren't smart enough or athletic enough to be cops or soldiers, and it's okay. Put on this mask and don't wear a badge name or number and wear sunglasses and unmarked vehicles and do whatever you want. And that's absolutely what they do. But speaking of assholes who defend these clowns, John, I want to bring up one Megyn Kelly, and this was her statement. I don't know if you heard her statement about Alex Peretti, but let's see what
I've seen a couple things from her.
Okay, here we go.
I know I'm supposed to feel sorry for Alex Peretti, but I don't. I don't. Do you know why I wasn't shot by Border Patrol this weekend? Because I kept my ass inside and out of their operations. It's very simple. If I felt strongly enough about something the government was doing that I would go out and protest, I would do it peacefully on the sidewalk without interfering via a whistle, via shouting, via my body, via any other way. I would make my objections known by standing there without interfering, because interfering is where you go south. And laying hands on a police officer trying to, or Border Patrol officer or ICE officer trying to conduct a law enforcement operation is a felony. And now you are going to get arrested. And if you do anything that resembles resisting, you're in serious trouble.
Well, land of the free and home of the brave, John. I couldn't have said it better myself. Shut the fuck up, do what you're told, and you got to worry about anything. Mark, he wrote here that those guns do have a tendency to go off. I don't think that matters like fucking at all. I've heard people mention this, that, oh, well, these guns do discharge easily or accidentally sometimes. That doesn't matter. It's literally inconsequential to the story.
It doesn't accidentally go off 10 times.
Well, no, he's talking about Preddy's gun. So Preddy's gun that the other ICE officer had, fired, the ICE agent didn't pull the trigger on accident. The gun fired by itself, and that's what triggered the thing. The point is that if you're a trained professional in this, the sound of a gun going off does not trigger you to empty your gun into the person in front of you. What if it was a shooting that took place like across the street or something that was completely unrelated? What if a car backfired next to you? That's why, look, in the Army, Mark, I don't know if you're in the Army or not. I don't know, or anything like that. But when you're in the Army, you go through training specifically to be around gunfire all the time. Like when you're in basic training, you're in the Army a couple of months. They have you crawling underground. I'm not underground, on the ground underneath barbed wire. It's called Nick at Night exercise. You guys can look it up. And they shoot live rounds over your head, like while you're crawling, so you know exactly what it sounds and feels like, so you don't fucking panic like that and murder somebody because you heard a scary sound. That's the part where I'm not saying you're saying that, Mark, but it's just obnoxious. It's just obnoxious that people are pointing this out. And John, I wanted to play that Megyn Kelly clip because I apologize in advance. I have another Megyn Kelly clip for you.
Oh God! Wait, can I address that Megyn Kelly clip first?
No, well, it's related. So just put a pin in it. It's related because we all heard what Megyn Kelly had to say there. That don't bring a firearm to a protest. That is bad news. If you do, you should expect whatever happens to you. But let's see this clip from her. This is from 2021, and see what song she was singing back then.
Kyle Rittenhouse just fell to his knees in tears. He's on his knees. His lawyer's talking to him. He's shaking. It's upsetting to watch. It's like I feel like the media is just so awful, Andrew. They've been so disgusting from the beginning, and you can feel what this boy is feeling. This young man, his mother's in tears behind him. We forget people's humanity in the press. We just want to kill them. We want to go for the jugular. We want everyone to pay. And in this case, we wanted him to pay because he was a Trump supporter and he was a Second Amendment supporter and he wasn't on the side of the BLM rioters. And the media and the president and the governor put this kid through hell. And this is the only just verdict.
All right, so that's her response to Kyle Rittenhouse being found not guilty for his actions when he killed people bringing guns to a protest. And first, before you go anything, John, I have to say, rough 5 years for Megyn Kelly. I couldn't believe that this was 2021. Actually, it's only been 4 years because I think this was December or November of 2021. So yeah, it's only been about a little over 4 years, and it's like, hate has not aged her well. But go ahead, John, your thoughts about
Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly used to be like
Megyn Kelly was a smoke show. I mean, like she really was.
Well, I mean, I mean, she was obviously fucking
Mhm.
hot, but like, I mean, just like she was good at her job. Like Megyn Kelly was the best of the blonde Fox girls.
the
Like
best
she
of
was,
the blondes.
like she was actually like I respected her when she was on Fox for her talent. And she has just completely fallen off a cliff. I don't know what the fuck happened to her. When she went to MSNBC, I thought like she was going to make a pretty decent anti-heel turn, face turn. And she just failed. Like she just couldn't do it. And I don't know what happened to her. So she fell off a cliff. Her talent diminished. I don't know what she did in her life, but yeah, it's pretty bad. Anyway, yeah, I mean, they're hypocrites, right? They're hypocrites. We all know they're fucking hypocrites. The level of hypocrisy that like they just seem to like willingly wade into is actually quite like if I were to write a script where Megyn Kelly would say the most hypocritical things relative to the Kyle Rittenhouse situation, she nailed it. Like she hit the whole script for me. Like her being like, oh well, but it speaks to what they actually believe though, DJ. Like she's right. She's like, yeah, this wouldn't happen to me because I wouldn't be out protesting. So I don't have to worry about this. True. I mean, that is how they genuinely believe. By being out protesting, you're already doing something wrong. So fuck you, you know? And it's rough. It's rough. I don't even have anything to say about Megyn Kelly, to be perfectly honest, TJ. There's nothing that I could say that anyone in our audience is not already thinking right now. Like, it's just so obviously, blatantly hypocritical. And TJ, I am someone who is on record many, many times saying Kyle Rittenhouse acted in self-defense. And the problem with what he did was bringing the gun into that situation. That I've said that many, 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 many times. I've remained consistent on that. No one fucking else has. It is so disgusting to watch. I just don't even know. I don't know how to even address it. This is why I don't make TikToks anymore, TJ, because the other side is just like, there's no way to even represent the other side without like feeling disingenuous because the argument is that bad.
It is. TikToks are so hard to make right now. They're just really difficult. But yeah, and plus, like, what am I trying to do here? I'm actually gonna get on the air and say, yeah, this killing was wrong, and people are gonna say, no, it wasn't. It was fine. What are you talking about? And I was like, okay, this is not. I remember back years and years ago, I was a teenager and I was or like late teens, early 20s, and I was watching MSNBC and I saw Pat Buchanan on there talking about how the war on terror against radical Muslim terrorists was different than the Soviet Union. Why we could be cruel and sadistic and use torture. He said, well, you got to understand the Soviets were rational human beings with whom we had economic and political disagreements, but we're basically fighting animals now, so everything's off the table. That is how it feels like when I'm talking to conservatives, that rules don't matter, structure doesn't matter, values don't matter, support of the Constitution, even although I know it's selective and it's the parts that you like, the Second Amendment, that doesn't even matter as long as the people.
That's what really got me going this weekend, was just like, wow, they're going against the Second Amendment. Like
it's
the only thing more sacred to them is like anti-abortion. Like, I swear to God, I would have assumed a pillar of Republican thought.
Yeah, it's really, really fallen off. It kind of I was talking the other day about this, someone that they will turn on the Second Amendment if it seems like it's going against them. It's kind of like Ronald Reagan back in I want to say the 70s. Ronald Reagan was the governor of California, and the Black Panthers had a movement where they were carrying weapons around because they could. Second Amendment. California got gun control laws real fucking quick when that happened. All of a sudden, it was kind of scary and nervous for them. And before we move on to the questions, I know, geez, the show's almost over. We haven't answered any questions, but I wanted to show this, John, because we haven't talked about Trump nearly enough here. And I can't stress enough how much I love Donald Trump's ability to focus every issue on himself. And this is him talking about the Renee Good shooting. I don't know if you heard what he had to say about that. Here we go.
And I'm not sure about his parents, but I know her parents were big Trump fans. Makes me feel bad anyway. But I mean, I guess you could say even worse. They were tremendous Trump people, Trump fans, and you know, the daughter was, she was, I don't know if you could say radicalized, maybe not. I don't know, but I hate to see it. I hate to see that.
That's actually not the exact clip I was looking for, but I don't know if you heard about Trump saying that he felt really bad about the Renee Good shooting because Renee Good's dad was a Trump supporter. Have you heard that?
I have heard that, and
Okay.
it is. I mean, it's par for the course, right? Like, and this is one of the reasons why I just feel like anyone who defends Trump not being a narcissist is an insane fucking person. Because no, like when I'm deciding how bad a killing is, at no point does it cross my mind how much the victim or the victim's father supported me personally. It is irrelevant to my determination. And yet, that's what Trump's mind goes to every single time. Like, it's not just this situation, it's so many situations where he just states verbatim, yeah, no, this guy supported me, so I'm doing this. Like he uses it as actual evidence for his decision making that someone supported him or didn't support him. He refers to himself in the third fucking person,
yeah,
escalatingly more than he ever has now. It's like, how do you not see this guy as a narcissist? I see you're pulling something up there. Should I address?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
We come up. So, Mark, I'm going to get to yours. I'm going to do a few quick hitters first. So, Colby, I need to know what I said. That is your new favorite quote.
You said that you're the best of the blondes, I think, is what was really funny.
She is the best of the blondes.
Yeah, it sounded like a Hustler title or something like
that. I'm Hugh Jass says, so that's how Nick at Night got its name. Is that how Nick at Night? Did the Nick at Night Army training pre-exist Nick at Night, the television program?
I don't know. I'm guessing they're unrelated. The Nick at Night training, I don't know when it started. I know Nick at Night, as in, which doesn't even exist anymore, but Nick at Night, Nickelodeon had old programming at night from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I loved it, by the way. And that would have started, I remember when it started. I was like 12 or 13, so somewhere in the mid 90s, whatever. Oh, yeah, so I'm sure it was around back then. I don't think they're related at all.
Okay. I don't fucking know the answer. Kyle says, I know federal tort claims suits are being filed. Can the family sue administration officials for lying about Freddie being a terrorist? Yes, they can. Will they win? I don't fucking know. I'm not a lawyer.
Real quick.
I feel like that's why they're upset. Like I feel like it's a pretty easy speculation to say, yeah, the reason they're really walking shit back is because they open themselves up to a can of liability.
Because they aren't adults. They are not serious people who are in charge. Like, say what you want about Trump 1, but you had actual grown-ups running shit, which kept a lot of restraints on it. Now, like, did you see like the arrest in Minnesota when Don Lemon, a bunch of people went in and started protesting a church, for having an ICE director as their pastor because the church is doing evil shit. They protested something Jesus would do, by something he did.
Yeah, and that was very funny. It's like, yeah, Jesus literally did this.
Yeah. And then they released an image of one of the women getting arrested. They doctored the image to make her cry and everything, and they posted it on the official website. And when the news, like the New York Times, confronted them about it, they said the memes are going to continue. This is like, you're getting every case thrown out when you're doing that kind of shit. And by the way, I hope so much that Tim Walz pardons every single person who protested at church. I hope that the pardons just like pass him. Huh? I mean, if it was if they weren't arrested by the federal government, then it's a state action, right?
But weren't they arrested by the federal government?
Oh, were they? I don't know. I mean,
I can't imagine that they were able to get the state to arrest. I don't know.
I mean, it would have been. I would have been like city, county, or something like. Yeah, get that shit pardoned. Get that taken off the books.
Tim Walz can do it. He should do it. And also, like, it's fucking bullshit. They're arresting. Treestop asked, pun intended by chokehold, when you said that the BTK killer had the nation in chokehold. Was the pun intended? It was not intended. Oh, TJ, you should just take credit.
It was not intended. No.
I thought it was intended.
No.
Okay, so and then to get to Mark's question. So Mark asks, first of all, he says, okay, can I ask a question? Yes, Mark, you can. I'm typing my phone's in the cold, so bear with me. The accusation more recently has been that Trump is a fascist, is authoritarian. He is not leaving after his next election. that being part of the question. But we see Trump listening to Republicans and listening to critics. So here's why I roll my eyes at the accusation of authoritarianism. What do you think? And so here's the thing, Mark. So just because someone listens like to people saying, hey, you might lose your power if you do this, doesn't mean they don't want to be an authoritarian. You can be a fascist without having any power in the world. If Hitler wasn't Chancellor of Germany and was just some guy on the streets with no power to kill anyone, never committed the Holocaust, never did any of these things, he would still be a fascist. Every single Nazi soldier would still be a fascist if the Nazis never existed. It is an ideology. It is not a description of action. It is a description of thought. An authoritarian believes that someone with authority deserves that ultimate power, whether it's them or someone else. Trump, tell me if you think I'm wrong here. If Trump had the option, if there was a button in front of Trump that said, if you press this button, you can override any democratic results in any election, and you can decide the winner, do you think Trump would hit that button? Because the answer is fucking yes. He clearly would. He would hit it on 20. He still says he won the 2020 election. Like, he will do anything and everything in his power to retain power and get more of it. Regularly, when asked, why do you think this should happen? He'll say, because I said so. Remember the Mark Moran interview where Mark Moran was saying, no, that's not what it is. Like, he was saying he had MS-13 on his knuckles. And Moran was like, no, he didn't. That was Photoshopped. And he said, no, he had MS-13 on his knuckles. That's the sign of someone who's used to saying this is how it is and then assuming that's going to be the case. Like, he's so clearly an authoritarian and clearly a fascist. Now, the one thing I will say about Trump and his fascism is I don't think Trump particularly cares about like any sort of hierarchy outside of himself. Like, genuinely, the one critique I would say of my claim that Trump is a fascist is that I don't think that like ideologically he really cares about any sort of societal hierarchy or power structure. I think he's just a narcissist, and fascism is the best way to obtain his goals. But he hires Stephen Miller in order to execute his desires. And Stephen Miller is a fucking fascist. Like, one of the most openly fascist people I have ever seen. And he's been in his cabinet the entire fucking time. Like, it's like the quote, like, if you have a dinner party with 9 people and a Nazi sits down and no one else gets up, you have a dinner party with 10 Nazis. Like, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like Mark is asking two different questions. It looks like to me, like, is he a fascist, and is he someone who, or is he a fascist, and is he not going to leave after the next election? Or like, what? Those are two different.
Like he would choose not to, and he says he would, but he clearly he changed his mind and listened to criticism. That's not authoritarianism. Like, if I put a gun to Adolf Hitler's head and said, "Hey, stop the Holocaust." I mean, he did kill himself, right? But like, the point here is I could force Hitler to change his mind about something. That wouldn't stop Hitler from being an authoritarian.
Yeah.
Like, he's changing his mind, not because he feels there's some democratic value that exists outside himself that he needs to respect. He's changing his mind as a result of power being utilized against him.
Or you might not force you could convince Hitler to change his mind. That there's like Hitler, I'm positive Hitler or Mussolini or any, hell, you can go back to, absolute monarchs. If you gave someone like, hey, the people really don't like this and they're kind of upset about it, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility. It's okay, well, maybe I was wrong on that. That happens. That doesn't mean that they're not fascist authoritarian. I think Mark is arguing some sort of maximalist position. It reminds me a lot in religion when I say that I think that if the Christian God exists, or not Christian God, but if a God exists, I would classify that God as evil because of all the horrible stuff that he allows to happen on a daily basis. And the response is, well, look at all the good things he does. He can't be evil. He does good things too. It's like, no, I'm not saying every action that this God takes is maximally evil. I'm saying that looking at the broad view of their actions, I would categorize it as mostly evil. So I would say that, Trump is mostly authoritarian. That doesn't mean every every single decision he makes can be classified as, something that is, pushing the bounds of democracy. No, or that, he can't be reasoned out of something. I don't think that's a consistent view of how I describe someone's character and everything.
Yeah,
But
I am kind of interested, Mark. Like, what makes an authoritarian?
yeah, it's
Because he says, yes, he would, but he clearly changed his mind and listened to criticism, not authoritarian. But like, that just describes what. That describes like what he's able to do. Like, he's saying not there wasn't a gun to his head. Yeah, I'm not saying that Republicans put a gun to his head. That didn't happen. But the arguments that they used to convince him were not, hey, this is the right thing to do. It wasn't, hey, you shouldn't. Like, if Trump had infinite power, he would use it to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. He would not listen to anyone else. He would not care. Maybe he could be reasoned with, but like he would just do what he wants to do all the time. If I had infinite power, knock on wood, I would like to hope, and while power can corrupt, I would like to hope, given my current philosophical mindset, that I would still listen to democratic consent. I would still feel the need to gain democratic consent before utilizing my power to affect change. There would be, yeah, I know, TJ's smirking.
No fucking chance.
TJ.
No fucking chance.
Okay,
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
You have infinite power.
Sorry, yeah.
You can create any system of government that you want. Would you create a government where you have absolute say over everything that happens? Or would you create checks and balances on yourself?
It's easy to say when I don't have to make the decision.
I know you don't have the ultimate power, but I'm saying,
of course, no. Listen, it's like I always say that I think that the monarchy, in Britain, the monarchy is absurd. I said if I was born to monarchy and like I was first in line, like I was gonna have the crown next, my immediate action would be to disband the monarchy. Like, this is insane. This is absurd. There's no reason this should exist. Of course, it's easy for me to say that because I'm not in that position. But the second you are, things are a little different. And you think, oh, well, what if the person that gets in charge after me is 1,000 times worse? What if I'm the only person standing in the way of an increasing wave of bullshit and nonsense and torture and destruction? Maybe we'd be better off if I were in charge. It doesn't take much. It does not take much for a human being to think that.
Recognize
that. Yeah. That's why I say that. Yeah.
But like Trump is just so clearly, like, it's just so odd. Like, look at the yes men he has surrounded himself with. Like even if you're gonna say like power corrupts, right? Like, look at other people who've had the same exact power. And look at the way that they talk about things, that they set up laws and rules and systems. Like, they don't do what Trump does. Like, Trump clearly believes that what he says should be law. Like that he has said this like many, many times. It's kind of absurd to me to claim that he isn't an authoritarian. He doesn't have the power to enact totalitarian authority, but if he had the choice to do so, he 100% would. His ideology is authoritarian.
Yeah. Some people would be more likely to embrace that than others, but I think that deep down, that if anyone's given absolute power, myself included, you will turn into a bad guy.
I agree with that.
I know I would. I know I would without a also, Colby brings up a good point. TJ, have you considered how cool you look as fuck with that crown? All right,
I'm not saying I'd get rid of the crown, Colby. I'd still wear the fucking crown.
That would be the last thing to go. The crown would be the last thing
I'd keep the throne, I'd keep the crown, but I'd have a system of democratic government around me, and at least get some pictures.
And Kyle wrote, TJ, are you open to Gnosticism? And sure.
Is that okay? Wait. I actually have a question. Oops. What is Gnosticism? Because in my brain, I've always read it as agnosticism, and I don't think that's the same thing.
Oh, so I think you asked like what Gnosticism is. So Kyle, tell me exactly what you're referring to with the Gnostics, because the Gnostics were an early branch of Christianity that kind of taught that the God of the Old Testament was a demiurge. He was this being who he was one of the old gods. He created everything around us and everything, but he was cruel. He was capricious. He didn't really care about humanity. And we don't worship that God anymore. That God is a God of the past, whether he's dead or whether we just don't acknowledge that God anymore. And that Jesus, or whatever Jesus represented, because I don't think the Gnostics believe Jesus was God either. There's like a new version of God. Is that what you're referring to, Kyle, when you're talking about Gnosticism? Because I think that's what it is. And I mean, I don't know if I'm open to it. I don't believe it's true, any of that. I don't think any of the deities or the magic and stuff is real. But yeah, if someone can give me evidence, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, no, I definitely that's
I
one of my biggest criticisms of Christianity is trying to claim that the Old Testament God is the
look
same as the New
the
Testament
Gnost
God. I buy that a hell of a lot more than they're
they
the same
nailed
fucking
it, John, didn't they? They
Yeah.
nailed it because the earliest example of the Christian Bible that we have, like someone putting together a bunch of New Testament books, was been by a guy named Marcion, who put together, I think it was Luke, Acts, and a bunch of the epistles of Paul. That's what he believed, that they should leave the Old Testament behind. Says every other chapter is this God massacring thousands of people. Why would we want any connection to this? We want to just stick with Jesus and like the kindness and the hope and everything. And I said, man, Christianity really should have stuck with their guns on that one, because that makes a hell of a lot more sense than trying to combine these two gods as one. Gnosticism is the idea that an evil demiurge created the known universe, trapping his mother Sophia in the flesh. I've never heard anything about Sophia. Okay, I know about the evil demiurge part in the known universe. The mother being Sophia, I don't know that kind of.
You made me want to look into it. I'm going to go through a YouTube rabbit hole now.
I don't know about Sophia, but go ahead, John.
I'm all in. I'm a Gnostic now. For the next 24 hours, I'm a practicing Gnostic, and I will learn everything I can about it. Colby says, before this ends, are you guys getting a lot of snow?
Boy, yeah.
Now, that sounds like an innocent question, DJ, but something tells me that a punchline is coming our way very soon. But yes, Colby, I am getting a lot, or we did get a lot of snow around here. He also had a great comment early in the show. Colby said, I want to affirm to John and his wife that I will no longer talk about her. I'm in agreement that I, too, wouldn't want people to know I'm married to John Cooper. And
That's
Colby,
good.
all I have
That's
to say to that is, it's John Cooper Paz.
John Cooper no longer exists. John Cooper is gone, like the demiurge of old. The Garden of Eden was actually made to keep humanity complacent until the outer powers sent a serpent to help liberate humanity with the fruit of knowledge. Okay, yeah, it's sounding more.
I love the Garden of Eden story. Is one of my favorite stories in the whole goddamn Bible. It's one I've actually come entirely full circle on, because that was one of the ones where I'm like, as a kid, I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, what? Why is knowledge bad? It feels like the people who say that like knowledge is bad are the same people who are teaching me right now knowledge. This doesn't make any fucking sense in the world. Pursuit of knowledge should be a good thing. I'm wrong about that, guys. Like, it's way better to be dumb. Way better. Like, they fucking nailed that. Where like, you're gonna have a happier, healthier human life if you just fucking don't think about it that hard and just go through it. Those people are correct. They're 100% correct. There is no happiness to be gained from knowledge. You will be living in the Garden of Eden before you have knowledge. And afterwards, you will be noticed that you are naked and cast out into the wilderness. And that is actually the most accurate fucking story in the Bible, my friend.
It's hard to argue against it, man. It's hard to argue against it after. I remember we were all so naively optimistic, thinking that the internet and the age of information technology would free us all, that this is all we needed, that it's incredible how dumb everyone is when the answer to every question you have is in the palm of your hand. It's still kind of fascinating to me that all this knowledge hasn't helped us out at all. But yeah, the Garden of Eden is a fun story. One, for how ridiculous the entire premise is. The idea, because like the fall of mankind can be due to the fact that we ate from the tree, and that if we hadn't eaten from the tree, you know, people would live forever. There would be no sickness, no diseases, no death, and everything like that. And my whole question is, wait, why is the tree there in the first place? Why is the tree in the exact same spot? The exact like Earth is a huge fucking place, right? Like, you could put the tree anywhere. And well, one, why does the tree exist in the first place? Is there like, is God forced to do this, or did he do it on his own free will? And look, maybe you could say God had no choice. There's some sort of divine handbook or some instruction manual. Yeah, it's like, listen, you create a universe, you need to have a tree of knowledge of good and evil. Put the tree on the fucking moon, man. Okay, no one is gonna get to it. You have the whole universe for this tree, and you put it right next to two people who were literally born yesterday, and you're shocked that everything heads south. There's such a low opinion of God in these old stories that it just cracks me up. Yeah.
Mark says, please, no massacre of religion. Why can't you talk about the Epstein? I feel like I'm not massacring it. I feel like I'm actually, like, this is one of the most pro Christian religion sentiments I've ever shared. Like the Garden of Eden is a wonderful philosophical story. It has depth, it has character. I like it. It's solid, and yeah, the fact that he put it there, like I only
Insane.
interpret that forever as wow, he's a dick.
He's-
like he, of course, it's just like I'm an all-powerful, all-knowing being. I'm gonna put this right here. I have one rule for you guys. I know I created human nature. Don't eat from the don't eat from the tree, guys.
and then punishing them for doing something wrong
Not just
when
them,
according to
all
you.
their descendants
Yeah, us
for
too.
all
Us too.
eternity.
Yeah, us too. But when you're punishing them for doing something wrong, when according to you, they did not know like right from wrong. Like that, you said that out loud.
They don't have the knowledge of good and
It's just, it's so, yeah, the tree is literally called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And it's like, I can't believe you did evil. Really? Really? You can't? I mean, it seems like a toss up if they don't know. It's just, the one.
Mark, you would agree that God is an authoritarian, right? Like God's an authoritarian. The
Mark,
Christian God
Mark
is,
would 100% agree on that. I mean, I'm just knowing. I mean, who wouldn't, right? It's like if they're
and
he is
therefore,
the ultimate
anyone
authority.
who believes in him must be an authority. And this is one of the things I really fuck. Like, if you believe that God is God and he's an authoritarian clearly, and you believe that is just and good, then therefore you're open to authoritarianism as a concept that can be good. Like it's just that has always confused me.
Oh wow, I was wrong. Mark said no. God is love. That's not authoritarianism.
Then why was it wrong to eat from the tree of knowledge?
Yeah, God is the ultimate. I don't think you could make a biblical argument that God is not authoritarian when he's literally the final authority on literally everything. He has the rights of life and death and eternal punishment, or your existence and non-existence. I don't know. If God is not an authority, then authority doesn't exist. At least not in an objective sense. But
Does God give authority to anyone else? Like literally, God has all of the power to give authority to anyone in existence. And he doesn't. He retains the ultimate authority by his own will over all of existence.
He did give humanity authority over the earth. He did tell us that.
No, he didn't.
He said that
We can
humanity.
be punished for what we do on earth by him.
No, like he's like we have dominion over the earth is what God said about humanity is that we have dominion over the earth. So that's what.
But he lied about that.
Well, I'm not defending it as right or wrong. I'm just saying that
It's not
does-
true.
Oh,
Like, yeah, authoritarians lie sometimes.
But my favorite part about the Garden of Eden story is that when God removed Adam and Eve from the garden, that he placed an angel with a flaming sword to guard the garden from humans ever entering back in there. I said, that's fucking cool. How come this character never shows up again? That is the first, last, and only time the Bible talks of.
I wasn't even aware of that. There is like canonically the
Oh,
Garden
yeah.
of Eden still exists on Earth, and there is an angel with a flaming sword, which I haven't found yet.
So
He's
this
got like
is.
TARDIS powers.
So, all right. So, hold on, I'm finding it. So the Garden of Eden existing on Earth, that part the Bible doesn't mention because the flood takes place after the Garden of Eden. So you could argue the Garden of Eden was destroyed during the flood, and then the angel doesn't need to be there anymore. But for at least a
The
period
Garden
of
Eden
time.
is Atlantis.
Ooh,
I'm like-
maybe so. All right, here we go. It is Genesis 3:24. After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way into the tree of life. Yeah, so the tree was still there too after everything, and angel with a flaming sword. Pretty fucking cool.
Pretty fucking cool. I like that. God is love. That's not authoritarianism. Like there have been many authoritarians who have claimed that their order is love. Like that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Like fucking what's the guy's name? Like every cult leader ever has basically been like, I'm doing this because I love you. Like I don't know. That seems like an oddly non-consequential claim to whether or not he's an authoritarian. And he says, but man is evil. Wait. He said because God said not to, bro. Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I don't know what.
What is authoritarianism other than it's wrong because I said
never.
so?
Sorry. I've actually never heard someone argue that God is not authoritarian. This is the first. I was not ready for this. That is, I don't know how you can argue something like that, but I don't know. All right.
Fun one. That was a good one, Mark. I enjoyed that.
Joseph
was...
Coney says, "I love my children." I'm Joseph Coney.
That's
Did Joseph
good.
Coney have any kids? I don't know, but all right,
Coney,
John.
we encourage you to keep following us. Friend of the show.
All right. So John, I rather foolishly didn't get with you about Thursday because I asked. Did you ask anyone to be on the show Thursday before we start?
I did not know.
Okay, all right. I was for some reason I was thinking no, but oh man, he could have just not said anything. I should have asked, but I asked Lamont and Ate to come on the show Thursday. Neither of them can be here at the start of the show, so they'll be coming in at like 7:15.
We can practice a little bit. Guest entering.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah,
like
actual that's behind the scenes talk.
Yeah.
We'll inform everyone in the coming whenever we get to it.
All right, cool. But yeah, so they'll be joining us on Thursday, so it should be a pretty good time. Great.
All right. Well, see you guys later. Love you. See you Thursday.
Bye, guys. Oh.